Hey guys, miicrow here. We've talked a lot about gearing and perks, but I don't think I've ever went through and talked about every single infix, so I thought I would do that in this video today, and kind of highlight which ones are good and which ones are kind of average. For people that don't know, in New Road Buddy, if you go to exclusive labels under perks, you could filter this for infix, and then it will just show you the entire list, so that's really useful. And then from here, you can identify the infix, go to items, and then you can just search for that. You can see what items drop with it. But that being said, let's get into it. So we have tenacity, penetration. I guess the important thing for infixes before we start is infixes can roll on random gear, so they're independent of gear sets. And what a lot of people are doing specific infix chest runs because the infixes are just generally speaking stronger than the whole gear set altogether because they come with less. They don't come with fixed perks. And the regions for doing these are very, very weird. Right now, the run that we normally do, we do Restless Shore, we hit this spot, we do Morningdale, we hit up this spot. Uh, then it kind of gets crazy. So there's a few different locations from here. Eden Grove, there's the Life Ring that can give it. There's also a few up in Tormal. If you come down to the bottom of the map in Reekwater, there's two chests up to the top of the pool I can get it that you can get to by just going to the shrine, jumping over, and like kind of running up to the top, and you can get those. CK gives the infixes. I still need to do this chest run today. And Nighthaven, if you have all the cards, there's a way to get infixes, and as well as this hidden chest run from the Nightbreak Roost is a way to get infixes. Brim, I don't believe drops them, but Shattered Mountain does, so you can do uh, this one, or the Mines is what people call it, and then Merc. So those are like the main spots for these, but that aside, let's get into it. So Tenacity Penetration, you just get Armor Pen when you hit targets with crit. This comes on, I believe it's on a ring. Yeah, it's on a ring, so you can see here from item class. It's not as good as the other perks, but because a lot of people are going for grit-based builds, like, this could be good. I think this infix is going to be better, like, later on when people have a lot of grit. Right now, it's kind of, like, hit or miss if people actually have grit. So it'll be better later, but for now, it's good. Tenacity critical, you get crit chance while you have grit. This is, I would argue, underrated because you can just pop a grit potion and then you just have increased crit chance. You could have 50% uptime on grit potions. This is actually really good for a lot of squishy DPS, and I don't think a lot of squishy DPS are really looking at it. So I would argue very, very good for Fire Staff. Good for a bunch of range builds in general. For melee, it's fine. Like, if you get a piece of this, like, would you consider running it? Like, sure. But it's not that much better because for melee, if you hit someone from behind, you'll already crit, so it's like less important. There's also Tenacity Recovery, which is a really, really good infix if you can land this one. It'll boost incoming heals while grit is active, so same idea with grit potion, but then it gives you grit. You have grit active, very easy to have high uptime on this. You don't really need sets to really get the set bonuses if you just use grit pots a lot. Tenacity Rebound will reflect damage back. This damage seems to be relatively uh, minimal from my testing. It says health modifier damage. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but it's still good for getting like rune charge and just overall like is a solid pickup if you can get it. It usually comes on a chest piece, I believe. So there's that can be conflicting with a few other infixes that would argue are better, but it's still a pretty good option. Stifling evasion will do damage if you dodge while silenced. I don't think this is insane yet, but if people start getting the silence set, it could be really, really good. Especially going to a silence meta, this gets really, really crazy really, really fast. If you have the silence set, there's a way to use this to just do more damage too. So I think it's kind of underrated in that aspect and definitely is like worth considering for the leg slot, but there's a lot of other good pieces for the leg slot. And before we kind of go further too, all these infixes with pieces that drop like randomly are probably going to be what are used for best in slot items. It's not what we kind of thought off the beginning where it would be gear set oriented. Like there'll be a few sets that are used, but I wouldn't expect people to go like 5 ofs and like 4 ofs and like really high into those unless the set bonus is like insane. But because the infixes just turn out to be better and having the locked perk pool is pretty damning for a lot of those gear sets. We have Stifling Danger. Damage is increased when you hit a silence target. Really mid, I don't think it's that good. Stifling Energy, you get Stam regen. increased spell silence, not that good. Resolve, gain absorbable silence. This comes on an amulet, so it's like incredibly hard to get. If you do get it, I think it's gonna likely be good in PvP at some point. I just don't know when. It just kind of depends on when people start getting the silence set online, because it seems like a lot of people are going to be spamming the silence set in PvP, and this will just give you ABS while you're silenced, which is insane. So you will be really, really tanky. It seems like something that everyone will want to have at some point, but no one really has yet. Uh, Relentless Second Wind, when exhausted, gain uninterruptible. Kind of funny, but not as good as funny as it is. But yeah, that's where I'd kind of leave that. Cleansing Second Wind, cleanse roots installs on yourself. They become exhausted by dodging. Uh, Kind of, I would argue it's probably underrated. So it's like, but I don't think it's great. So it's like if you like, you kind of have to combo a couple of these second one things for them to be good. The idea is if you're just getting CC change, you just keep dodging until you uh can't dodge any further. Then you get rid of everything here, and then you have a different infix that gives you uninterruptible, so you can't get pulled, and you can basically control your character at that point. It's good in combination. I don't think it's insane by itself. It's also contests the leg slot, which is a lot of good leg infixes. So could be good. Probably not my favorite one overall right now. We got intervened accuracy, while under 50% stamina, gain crit chance. I think it's hard for range people to do, but if you're like a musket that likes to like dodge consistently to get that extra little bit of or the extra reload, like maybe it could be okay. I don't think it's going to be incredible, but I could see people not hating it if you're like a ranged DPS build, like a fire staff or a musket or something like that. Maybe a bow, but mostly those two rolls because they have higher crit damage mods and usually take advantage of critting a little bit more. Speed of recovery, you get haste after exiting the exhaust state. I mean, seems okay if you get it. Like, I wouldn't hate it. I don't know if I'd want to force this infix for like a bad piece, but like if you get it, it's good. Focus cleanse. This is the one that will make people immune to debuffs, and it's only for life staffs. It seems cool. Uh, it seems really hard to get, but it seems cool. Like, I would really appreciate if my life staff gave me debuff immunity, but and like that's really high skill cap. Like, say there's a crash going on, you give your tank debuff immunity. Your tank focuses on using other potions other than their cleanse potion. Like, there's some like high level thing that could be done there. I just don't think it's gonna be like I don't think the people are good enough at New World to make this like look insane. So it's probably just like a average. Uh, Infix, like really high skill cap in theory, but I just don't think it's as good as like it theoretically could be. Focus speed, healing a target outside of Sacred Ground and Beacon grants 10% haste for 4 seconds with an 8-second cooldown. Uh, Pretty good. Probably better for more individual heal-oriented gameplay. So like OPR would be a little bit better. 3v3 if you're fighting in Sacreds, I don't think is as good. Ward's probably pretty good. So like it's not a bad thing to get at all if you're a healer. If you're not a healer, this is a little bit interesting for like Flail and Void Gauntlet as well, because in theory you can heal people like with the flail by just using the ultimate, and then that can give people haste. So like actually pretty good utility there. Now I think about it, and I didn't really think about that up until now. There's focus determination. You're immune to debuffs for 1 second. 3 seconds they're under focus after a heal cast is interrupted. The heal casts, I don't know what they exactly qualify as, but I'm pretty sure this only ties into life staff oriented ones. And if that's the case, I think this is like average. Uh, so you're immune to crowd control debuffs, but you could still be staggered, is like how I read this. So it's like even if you're getting stagger chained, like you're just not gonna have a good time. So it's like I wouldn't really go out of my way to get that one. Focus Fortify is incredible, but it's on a chess piece, and there's like really good chess piece infixes, so it's really, really hard to fit in. Enraged Leech would be good if you actually go all in on the Enraged set, uh, but I don't think people are going all in on the Enraged set. A lot of people look at this and they think it's like really, really good for PvE, but it has an activation cooldown, which is different than the infix for if you don't pop a potion, you get a boost to your lifesteal. Like that one doesn't have an activation cooldown right now, and then Blood Drinker doesn't. So like just because this has an activation cooldown, it automatically makes it a little bit worse. But it's not terrible. Enraged Taunt, Exiting a dodge with more than 20 stam while enraged will consume 4 stacks to trigger a 3.5 meter AoE that pulls in nearby enemies. This is one I'm currently forcing on my character, and I think it's actually pretty good. I haven't changed the Divine out of here, and these other perks are not as great. But the basic idea is that this dodge isn't immediate, like this effect isn't immediate, but if you dodge into using an ability or doing an attack, it will pull people in and it will just make you more likely to hit that. So it's not as good as I originally thought it would be, but it's still good enough, and you can kind of spam it to consider running. You also need to pick up the Enrage set if you use this as a pure infix, which is a little bit of a downside. And the Enrage piece is better for DPS, but it's not as good for support players. Enraged Refresh, hitting a target with a light or heavy while above 15 stacks of Enrage will consume 3 stacks to reduce cooldown of all active weapons. The problem is you needed 15 stacks, which means you need to run at least 3 of for the Enrage set, and most people are only running 1 right now. If you go all in, it's not bad. If you don't go all in, it's not usable. While enraged, your heavy attacks will consume 3 stacks to deal more damage. Would be funny with the greatsword. I could definitely see someone doing this with the greatsword. The other fun part with this is if you are going crescent wave, your wave counts as a heavy attack. So if you're able to get enraged stacks with the crescent wave, it would be a little bit silly sometimes. And also I think if you hit somebody with the wave, it could proc the enrage stuff too. So it's like it could be really good for that weapon in particular. Enrage acceleration while you're above 15 stacks of enrage, get haste. I mean, not usable unless you go all in on it. That's my general feedback. Now we're on the elemental ones. I generally don't think these are good. Elementally energized seems like it's not great because a lot of people aren't going for charge builds. But if you are going for a charge build, you need the actual set. So like, I don't think this really works as a pure infix. But if you're going for the charge build, it's not terrible. The mana one just generally isn't worth it. Even if you overwin for the charge build, because mana's just like not too scarce of a resource, I wouldn't bother. Elemental rush when consuming elemental charge used by a non-magic weapon ability, get haste. And it consumes stamina. I mean, it is haste, but there's better forms of haste, so I would pass on this. Elemental Hunger is probably the best infix in the game. This one gives you 5% ABS even if you don't run the set. It's basically a must-have for everybody on the chest piece, and it's calling into question using even OP artifacts like Featherweight on chest because of how strong this is. And you can get it pretty easily too, so definitely recommend picking this up from the Catacombs vendor. Close Quarters is the one that everybody wants. It's funny, it says the items class is range. Oh no, I guess hat range is different. So like everybody wants this on like BB and everybody wants this on bow. The enraged bow from the end of the raid is like crazy, and I think there's like one other drop there that's like also good. It might be the musket. Um, I think it's best on blunderbuss and best on bow. Musket wants to put a little bit further back, but still very very good artifact. I think everybody's looking for it for both PvE and PvP. It's sorry, I said artifact. One of the best infixes in the game, probably top 3, along with Elemental Hunger and like maybe one other. Critical Storm is unfortunately bad because if you switch off your weapons, you lose the charges. So unless you're staying on the weapon for a long period of time, it's not really possible to get this. So a lot of people are actually avoiding this one now. Thwarting Stun suffers from a similar fate as critical storm, where if you switch off weapons, it's probably not as good. I mean, maybe if you have it on both weapons, it will stay out. Like that's like some stuff with Ice Pylon that used to exist. This only rules on like Great Axe and Warhammer. Seems like it would be really good for those rules, but you have to get one. Shredding Backstab is insane for the rapier. I think this is the other thing that drops from the raid, and a lot of people have been looking for it. Very good PvE rapier, if you think about it, because a lot of people are stacking Rens to get around armor. There's also a way for that the AGS uses to reduce the effectiveness of Rens, and this just bypasses that completely. So weirdly, really good in PvE. You just stack Vicious and other backstab related perks on top of it, and you will do really good damage. Alternating enchantment. If Herd is currently bugged, in theory, good on Blunderbuss, but Coarse Quarters is probably better. Chain Lightning is actually not that bad. If you get it, it's probably a nice thing to have. Adrenaline Boost, when your health drops below 50%, your crit chance goes up. Generally not worth it in my opinion, but it's okay. The Revive one seems like it's currently bugged, but it is very useful. I could see people like liking this a lot in like Catacombs. I could see people liking this a lot in open world and raids. But So for those modes, like if it wasn't bugged, it'd be really good. Unfortunately, it seems like it's bugged right now, and the bug I think that people have been saying, I don't have this one, is that you have to like manually cast it over somebody, and it doesn't like lock to them. So it's basically hard to use. But if you could use it well, it could be really really good. Exerted spin's really really fun. Uh, Honestly, I think this enables this is a really hot take that people are probably gonna laugh at me for, but I think I think Great Axe is actually a really good offhand now, and this enables like healers to go Great Axe offhand and just have charge and nest to get away, and that might be better than Hatchet, and it might be better than Rapier now. So really really funny. The only thing is I don't know if you can cancel it or not. You do end up exhausted, but it's still worth it because the effect is so powerful. Or I guess you can go the artifact one, but then you have to hit people. Empowering heal. Uh, doesn't actually make your heals better, it just makes your damage go up, so it's more funny than good, unfortunately. The mortar perk is actually crazy. I could actually showcase this one. I think I have a BB with that. Yeah, this BB. Or I could just put this on real quick. But it's really weird. Normally when you use the mortar, you like lock into an animation. With this, you just kind of throw it out. And it just sits there and then it explodes after a little bit of time. So it's weirdly like nice and actually makes mortar viable in my opinion. But close quarters is so good that I don't think a lot of people will go this. Even if you go like a full glass cannon mortar build, like the most I've seen it hit for is maybe 4K. So while it is like good, and I could see it being good with like a fire staff build that just wants to dump tons and tons and tons of damage in this particular area, or maybe it could be good with a crescent wave when you run out of mana or something like that. I just don't see it being meta. It's just more of a fun thing. Cleansing block is really really good for tanks. Anyone that does blocking in general, so would recommend. Comes on the shield, and unstoppable is I would argue in that top three of the infixes in the game that everybody is looking for. This one comes on the ring and gives you basic grit like you had in the past. Poison Infinity, I don't think is in the game, but if this existed in the game, it would be a top three within PvE, and you probably don't need the grit within PvE. Uh, I think this one is just it's basically just you do more damage. This is why everyone spams a Conite in PvE right now, just to do more damage, and this is just like another way to take advantage of that. So overall, there's a good amount of infixes. The unfortunate thing when you do one of these charm or these farms is that they aren't loot biased when they drop. So if you're looking for a particular one in a particular weight class, your odds are something like 1 in 3K. Uh, Assuming it's an armor one. If it's a weapon one, that's obviously a little bit different. So while you can get them, and while they are good to get, and I would generally recommend going on the chest runs to have a chance of getting a best in slot one every day, I wouldn't necessarily expect the one that you're trying to get to fall into your lap, and it will take some time to do so. But with that being said, they are very, very powerful, and would generally recommend going for them, as they literally can break the game if you get the right combination. So with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Peace.